What is up, everybody? So today I thought I would go through and do a video about my opinion of what an S tier archer is. Whether you're a brand new player or you already have a bunch of hours into the game, I think this video will be good for everybody. I keep seeing some archer builds out there, and honestly, I tried a few, and in the end, I had to make my own because they just were not working. They're decent, but there's a lot of talents and stuff people are using and gear that did not make sense. And this is my opinion, obviously. But we'll jump right into it. So your bows. Now, I don't know if there's a level 25 bow. I've been hunting for it. I also don't care for this either. Arrow speed is not the greatest, and it has a long draw speed. At first, I was concerned about the stamina cost, but we'll get into all of that. Now, this is good for sniping, and if you're with somebody. Personally, I have not used much of the longbow. Even in stealth, most of my damage is done even opening with the ignited bow. I've seen a few others that have dropped. I just liked this one. So that's going to be your bow. When you get to the iron tier, convert your iron arrows over to poisoned. Obviously, exploding arrow for your stuns, and we will get to the talent tree. But if you notice early on, we have a lot of skill nodes that buff exploding arrow. But let's go through the gear. So now, personally, I chose the ethereal plane. I just thought it looked cool, and honestly, most of our gameplay is with the bow. Okay. Very, very seldom do we have a sword out where we can block. So that's why I really didn't care what it looked like. Now I've seen a lot of people run the ice blade with the light forged axe. I think Nova looks cool. Shroud magic, I do agree, is a little underwhelming. Now, if you don't know, if you are in the Shroud against fell enemies, they are Shroud magic resistant. So that's why it's good to run these. This also has 15% crit hit chance. But this was cool. I do like the damage, and honestly, I just end up using Light Forged Axe most of the time. I do want a legendary version of White Wolf Sword, and it's mainly because I like the look of the sword and the retaliation. We're going to have a sword out. I'm also do that 20% damage reflect, if that makes sense. But honestly, with swords, you're rarely going to use them. It's up to you. So for helmet, I'm using the Eagle Eye helmet. We get the 13% crit strike damage, 15% ranged critical strike chance. I do believe the Deerstalker's helm that a lot of people are running is the same stats. It's just less physical and magical resistance. I have seen a lot of people talk about you want your physical and magical on somewhat of the same terms. I agree, but however, I believe that physical resistance is way more important, and the reason being is it's a lot easier to dodge more of the magic attacks than something running up on you and hitting you, and that is a big issue, especially when you get the dual wield poison cleaver berserker guys and they just beat the hell out of it. It hurts. For chest, we went with Radiant Paladin chest. It has high physical and a decent amount of magical. 240 health, 24 stamina. This is 48 and 24. Now, it's a lot. Now, this isn't terrible. It's 82 and 82, right? So we'll even that out if you do want to even them out a little bit better. You can. However, I liked the more physical. And I wanted more health than stamina. We will not have stamina issues. For gloves, we went with the Eagle Eye. And also, I wanted to mention, if you have access to the Gloom Monarch, you can rock that. That is a decent chest as well. For gloves, we're going with the Eagle Eye gloves. 12% range damage, say no more. I know there's another set in the game that's close to it. I think it might be the Deer Stalker. But again, this is level 25 armor. It has higher, resistances overall. For pants, we went with the Radiant Paladin. Now, this is a personal preference. This literally goes back to what I said previously. If you want your physical and your magical to be more evened out, go with the Eagle Eye. If you have access to Gloom works too. Now, I use this because it's 90 health and 2 health regen. This is nice too. I use these on my mage because I want faster speed, having to kite a lot with that sprint speed. For this, I wanted the health regen. Mage doesn't have health regen problems. Archer, I feel it. This is not bad either. It's stam and health regen. Whatever you have access to with health regen, that's what I would personally do. And then for boots, we have the Eagle Eye boots. Now, a good mention also is the Gloom Monarch. A little more physical, less magical. I didn't like that. This is mana regen and stamina regen. It's not horrible. You get that 4 stamina. I know there's another set of boots somewhere in the game. I couldn't find them. I have so much armor. But this is 7 stamina regen and in the stamina timeout reduction. For rings, we went with Ring of Health for the health regen mainly. And then Ring of Stamina for another 5 stamina regen. Which means, while we're kiting, we have no problem getting stam back. No problem. Now let's take a look at that. Without those 2 items. Now, this is going to be a little faster than what a new character would look like because of rebound. You see that difference? And I do believe in combat. That is halved. I'm not certain, but I've noticed that you don't regen stamina as much. Health pots, it's pretty much the best that you can find and comfortably make. I would also give a big shout out to the Wisp of Light potion. One of the nice things about this sword and this axe is you have low light, which can be helpful. Because the torch, whereas nice, does minimal damage. And when you have a bow out, no light. So it is very nice to use that. Food, I went with vegetable soup. I don't remember if there was better or not. We really don't need the bandages. I'd rather have it than not need it kind of scenario. I didn't go all out with my bird meat. I just took the extra +3 and that was it. This food is so common that it's just easy to keep up with. I don't really use it ever. I don't use any of these. This I will sometimes use, but I haven't found the need to use sugar or honey since I personally put on that ring and those boots together. Big mention is the commander's ring, 30% mana, 30% health. This is for you have access to this lower level early on. The health might help you. Mana, sure. If you're traveling a lot, you can put 2 of these on. Because of the 120 mana cost for updraft. This ring, I want to wear this, or even dual wield this ring. Problem is, it is not working. If we go to character, 5, 5, 10, 5, 17, 6. Okay? So just remember 5, 5, 10. Five, 5, 10, 5, 17, 6. It's a known issue. It sucks. What can you do? Like I said, I would almost like to rock 2 of them. If it wasn't for the health regen, I probably would. Again, this is personal preference for the gear. This is what I think would be your best in slot, and it has proven to be pretty good otherwise. That, and it also matches somewhat, except for the gloves. But I feel like it's a nice touch. Overall, I feel like it looks pretty cool. We're going to go into skills. As soon as I got my first point, I started working on Blink. Not only am I addicted to Blink because of playing a mage, it is easy to shoot while aiming, backpedal, and press it. This means if your enemy is coming after you, that is a quick fire. Quick fire. I wouldn't suggest doing it too much. I have fallen into pits and lava and all types of nasty stuff doing it here and there when I'm not paying attention. But I feel not only because of the distance gained is this great, but it's also because of emergency blink. You can blink while being stunned. This will break the stunned state. I like this. This comes in handy. This is probably one of the only things that we have to negate CC. This is optional. This is a personal preference in my opinion. It's when you blink into an enemy, you trigger a small explosion which deals fire damage in a small range. Damage and mana cost scale with the intelligence attribute. We will show at the very end of this video some combat. I'll show. I like it for lower level stuff. It means I don't have to waste an expensive arrow. And I can just blink in them a couple times and they die. But I kind of think it's a waste of 2 points where I could put somewhere else. I just haven't figured out where I would put it. We're going to start from the assassin tree. Dexterity, which is our main stat, 5% range damage per dex. We took airborne, updraft. Now that I've used updraft, I'm starting to get used to it, and it really goes hand in hand with double jump. Endurance, sniper, vitality surge, dex, shell shock, blessed arrows, bounty bonanza, dex, ricochet, graceful stride, and chain reaction. This one is pretty good. I would suggest not taking this or this until you are more late game. And I only say that because this is five. This costs 5 points. A dex node is 1 point. Any stat node is 1 point. When you find the ones that say every 2 levels of the flame, they're 5. Max level of the flame right now is 6. So that is 3 dex for 5 points. That means we wasted 2 points. Unfortunately, there are only so many dex nodes in the tree, and it leaves you kind of with no option. If you want the dex, you kind of have to take it, which is fine. But the reason I say also, save this for later is, one, if you have a level 1 or level 2, you don't want to waste 5 points early on. If you have a level 1 or level 2 flame level. Until you're 6, I would say 4 or 6. But even then, I would say wait till 6. Wait until 6 and your end game, because exploding arrows, A, suck to make. They take forever. And 2, if you don't have access to the exploding arrow, there is no point for us wasting skill points to get this specific talent. For the next part, in the Ranger, Dex, Marksman, Sharpshooter, Counter Battery, Eagle's Bane, Skill Shot, Ranger, which is an amazing. I would go for this. I would go for the Ranger tree early on. Also, multi-shot. Now, adds a 20% chance to spawn a flurry of arrows that spread slightly. When I think of flurry, I think of a flurry of arrows. I think of, quite a bit of arrows. Unfortunately, this is kind of the same talent as one master. The 30% chance to spawn an additional 1 projectile. However, I have paid attention to this, and sometimes it seems it can shoot more than 2 arrows. It can shoot 3. I don't know if it goes higher. Most of the time, I don't get to notice because I'm in combat, and I'm not concerned with how many arrows. I'm more concerned with not dying and them dying. But I think I've seen up to 3. I could be right. I could be wrong. I don't want to say yes. I don't want to say no without having 100% confirmation on that. However, it is still good to take. It comes in handy when you have a group of enemies. Otherwise, this really doesn't need to be taken early on if you want to start getting other things done. Which, in the next tree, we will show that. This is huge. For the next tree, I went Beastmaster, Endurance, which is our stamina. Snake Eater. Mithridatist. I probably butchered that word, sorry. Now, this is poison resistance, which reduces the damage received by poison for 20%. Your poison resistance is increased by an additional 10%. And we also have a 25% chance to avoid being poisoned. Now, this is not make or break, but it does help. We have Endurance. Yucca language, which is the big bear people. If you haven't seen them, sorry. Dex. Calm Spirit. Yucca culture. And Dex. We have Endurance nodes here, and then Beastmaster, which we're not going to take. You want to swap something out and you have enough. Like, say you don't find multi-shot worth it, and you don't find blink attack worth it. I could see this. However, I rarely come across a pack of enemies that are near wild animals that I really noticed. It's not a big deal. For the survivor tree, Endurance, Runner, Double Jump. Endurance is nice. As you can see, our only options to go this way is to spend the 1 point to get our double jump. Once you get used to it, it does come in handy. Again, we went this direction because of the very few points. I also do like Runner. Sprinting speed increased by 10% and stamina consumption decreased by 10%. We don't need inner fires. We have Relentless Flame up here, which is 5 minutes. I think our total time is like 14 or 15 minutes in the Shroud. It's pretty generous. A lot of people go up this path. I don't like Wanderlust. I don't know about you. I don't spend a lot of time on roads. I know that's probably the best way to travel, but I go from point A to point B. I fly. Even early on in the game, I didn't really travel on roads a whole bunch. Plus, to be fair, early on, we're not going to have access to this side. We're going to be wanting to go into our decks, you know, Assassin and Ranger. Now, when I had said early on I would still go up here, that is for Calm Spirit. Wild animals within 15 meters will be pacified unless attacked. Animals in the Shroud will still attack you, but all the annoying animals like wolves, boars, all of that noise, they will no longer attack you on sight. Scorpions, the big birds that want to kill you. I don't know about. I think the plants still shoot at you. I don't think that counts as an animal, but that's why we took that. You can still shoot them and get the XP. You can still farm them. It just gives you a chance to, you know, be in the dark. Be like, oh crap, my buddy's not on the sleep. I can't go to the base right now, but I don't want to be attacked by 50,000 wolves in the dark. It's one of those scenarios, and it comes in handy. So after Calm Spirit, Relentless Flame, we only took this to bridge over because I didn't really find these that useful, to be honest. Good metabolism. Rebound. Probably one of our most important as well, because the base stamina regen by 50%. When I first started playing Archer, I noticed that when I needed to kite, I was running out of stam way too often. I couldn't blink. I couldn't do anything. It was pretty awful. Getting the boots and the ring together. Um, Once I had the ring with the boots paired up, it was a lot better. Rebound has made it so I don't really have stam issues anymore. In fact, I can't remember the last time I ran out of stam other than trying to blink around the base for fun or gliding. Sweet tooth. This is cool, but we really don't even eat the honey or sugar anymore because of this. This is just a gap filler. And then our final point of dex. So we're going to go through real quick and let you see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, blink attack is a personal preference and optional. So that is the assassin tree. The ranger tree. The beastmaster tree. And our survivor tree. That is all 114 points. You did not know there's 114 total. That leaves us with 5 constitution, 5 spirit, 10 endurance, 5 strength, 17 dex, and 6 intel. I see a lot of videos where, well, people are showing the build, which is, this is fine, but it kind of drives me nuts when I'm trying to, follow a build. God, like, why is my build not looking the same as his? I do not have any food buffs on for you guys. In fact, I rarely use them. If I were to use them, I'd hit a lot harder, but the game is already so easy once you get to end game and you get to that point that it really doesn't. So those are the talents. Gear. All right. So now that we have that done, we will pop a food after we do some raw testing. We're going to keep these 3. We're going to go over to my favorite, Scatterbone. We're going to go to the Ancient Spire in Kindle Wastes. Now, if you are farming, or don't have access to the last glider yet, you will probably land below our mushroom rock. When we get there, we will show you. I'm not going to go hard, all out, and just fly straight there. This can be done with, technically out without double jump and without the updraft. So if you have your ghost glider, you will make it to this mushroom room. If not, you'll be somewhere below, which is fine. And then what you can do is fly around the shroud and over to the side about here. There's a mountain here, which we will show, like a plateau, and you can start there. We are going to fly over there by taking that route. So this is the beginner route before you have the glider. If you have the glider, obviously you'll make it there just fine. So without the glider, I believe we land somewhere over here, okay? This is about where we usually make it. And this is what I was talking about, the wild ant. Not everything's attacking you. If you point and aim, they're still friendly. This makes it so if we're on a mission, we don't have to worry about wasting a ton of crafted ammo and resources and health pots just to go and farm. Also, this area is very good for twigs. You only get one per, but still not bad. So we're going to run over here. If you do not take the wild animal, if you do not take Calm Spirit, I would recommend taking that bird out. But all I do is I go over here. I run up this hill. And this is what we call our safe area. If anything goes wrong, anything at all, we're down there. We run up these steps, run over here, run to this little rock thing, and jump. If you don't have double jump yet, just spam it until you're up, or you can use your pickaxe and make a small jump. I would not recommend that because then if the berserker follows you, he might be able to get up. From here, we go here. We want to make sure he doesn't come up the stairs. If you blow that up, I don't think he comes over. Okay. Second boss. And that was using the updraft. Well, evidently we have the bug. Looks like we're not using exploding arrow. That hurt. So sometimes if you mine... Yep, here we go. It is a common bug if you're mining or doing something. Exploding arrow does affect the ground, so I'm guessing that's why we got hit. Now, mind you, this is without food. If we eat just our standard +4 food, we now go from 17 to 21 dex. We weren't going to bother headshot the boss because the boss has a helmet on and it actually resists. One, the helmet itself and some metal scraps. I don't know where the berserker went, and that's my only concern right now. Their pathing isn't the greatest. Worth it. All right. Now we find the berserker. Shadowbane. Not bad as a starter, but Shroud Magic. Our first loot. Normally there's nobody down here. Meat chopper. Well, that did not get his attention. That's how we deal with those. Exploding arrow will stun it. Unfortunately, we have the bug, which is unfortunate. Ah, come on. Second chest. All the loot is random. Third chest. After that, you can reset your map. But that is it. That is all to it. So let me know what you guys think. I think it's a great build. You start getting the rested. You have tons and tons of stamina. You can decently take a hit if you need to. Most of the time you don't if you play smart. I think the armor matches, pretty well and looks decent. And the bow fires pretty fast. And then I'll show this one more time for you guys. So that is all 114 points other than the blink that is down below. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely let me know what you guys think of the build. I think this is the most optimal way to do things. And I think in the end, I think a lot of people are going to migrate over to a version of this anyways. It is worth mentioning I have seen people take points over here and stuff. I don't find it very smart to do that. It's a lot of points that you're putting in that could be used elsewhere. Especially for something like Radiant Aura, it's just fell foes. Or the Shroud monsters. Those guys are generally easy. Other than, the one Lich. Lich or Banshee or whatever it is. The one that throws the dual scythes at you, the dual sickles, that one hurts. Other than that, they're pretty easy. They're pretty easy to kite. That is the only mob that would probably give us trouble, to be honest. Only because we don't really have access to our shield. So you want to kite around objects and pillars and stuff. That way you're not getting hit, unless you're really good with your swap game, and then you can use your quick fire on Q. Which, if you don't know, so you have this. If you hit Q, you can still have a sword out and fire. This way you can be firing and blocking. But I personally like to manually aim. So that's the only reason I don't do that. But yeah, that is the build. Thank you guys for watching.